Are you saying that the nail tests that I do are basically useless?
No, I'm saying the change of coil size is a confounding variable that's not controlled for in this experiment. The exact geometry of the targets, the arrangement of them, matters in relation to the width of the coil. If the geometry happens to line up so that the Ferris targets are really close to the coil, the outer edges of the coil, when the center of the double D configuration strikes the non-Ferris target, then they're closer to the coil and therefore contributing a stronger Ferris component. And that's going to make both detectors, Equinox and the XB-DAIS2, miss the target. And that's purely a product of the coil width in relation to the configuration of the targets and nothing to do with the separation characteristics of either detector. It's purely a matter of physics, like the electromagnetic field generated by the coil, where it's strongest, where it's most sensitive. If the iron's close to those sensitive parts, it will mask the target. And as I showed in my prior video, there are configurations in which the 11-inch has the advantage over the 6-inch, and there are configurations in which the 6-inch has the advantage over the 11-inch. My point isn't to say that one coil size is better than another. My point is that they're different, and then they have different advantages in different situations. That's their strength, is if you go over to a site that you've hunted a lot before with only an 11-inch coil, then bringing out a 6-inch coil, you'll be able to take advantage of the scenarios in which the 6-inch coil performs better. And the opposite is true. If there's an area that you've searched exhaustively with the 6-inch coil, coming back with the 11-inch coil will allow you to unmask some further targets.
Why does the DAIS2, which tests the best in tight Ferris targets to non-Ferris items, there's the non-Ferris, Ferris, the DAIS2 tests out the best and is able to unmask in the tightest configurations? Why?
Well, it would appear you didn't watch my entire video, because I said I'm not asserting one detector is better than the other. Just because I'm saying there's a problem in a test doesn't mean the opposite conclusion is true. It doesn't mean I'm saying the Equinox is better than the XB-DAIS2 in iron, okay? If you want to know my honest opinion, I think the XB-DAIS2 is a little bit better in iron. But I don't think the advantage is nearly as huge as people are making it out to be. The physics of the situation is really the most critical part, and similar size coils are going to separate similarly because they're producing similar electromagnetic fields. That was really the point of my video, is to show that when you change coil size, you change the shape of the electromagnetic field, and how that shape of that field lines up with the shape of the configuration of the targets, it matters, and it's a variable that can affect the outcome of the test.
Then by all means go ahead, but answer the question. Why is the DAIS2 the best unmasker in iron, and is considered all over the world to be the best iron machine made?
Once again, the point of my video is not to assert that one detector is better than the other, so I'm not going to answer those questions of, well, why is the XB-DAIS2 the best in iron? Well, I mean, that happens to also be my own opinion, so I don't know how I would refute that point, but that's not the point of my video. The point of the video is that the coil size matters in relation to the exact configuration of the targets. So I'm not saying those tests are useless. I'm not saying you're manufacturing any bogus results or anything like that. I'm saying when you're comparing two detectors with two different coil sizes, that's a confounding variable, and depending on how that geometry happens to line up, the test could go one way or the other. So that's something to consider in these tests. You know, if I can manufacture one situation in which the 6-inch coil outperforms the 11-inch, and I can manufacture a second situation in which the 11-inch outperforms the 6-inch, well, which one's the fact? Which one's correct? Which situation? You know, as I showed, that you can manufacture either situation. My point is that that relationship is at play here, and it massively complicates these tests. Oh, and one more thing. I understand you don't want to link to my channel for whatever reason. I don't really care, but you should have the common courtesy for your own audience to clue them in on both sides of the conversation instead of having this secret one-sided conversation. It's kind of silly. Don't worry, I'm not trying to create a metal detecting channel that will compete with yours or something. So is there a reason why you don't want your audience to hear my side of the conversation?